They say the people were detained in Stockton after checking in and that the arrests were, quote, under bogus violations like low battery ankle monitors or being late to upload a photo. It also says that it's offering legal help for all of the people who were detained during these weekend check-ins. ICE so far has made no comment on the report.
Despite President Trump's pause on a federal immigration surge in the Bay Area, many immigrant communities are still fearing for their safety. On Dia de los Muertos, celebrations at Berkeley High School were canceled this weekend due to those fears. Organizers say that they canceled it at the last minute after receiving several calls from parents concerned about possible immigration operations. The annual event usually brings thousands to the high school and offers free haircuts and flu shots.
One by one, they're calling and counseling. And so, we have to honor that. If they're too afraid to leave their house, what right do we have to push an event? Even though we had a ton of safety factors in place that would have kept everybody safe, it does not support mental health.
Saturday's event was supposed to pay tribute to Berkeley organizer and educator Salvador Murillo, who died late last year. The Day of the Dead celebration in Oakland's Fruitvale neighborhood is still on for Sunday. The sale of TikTok could be finalized this week. The White House says negotiations between the two sides have gone well, and a deal could be finalized on Thursday when President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are scheduled to meet. A 2024 law signed by then President Joe Biden requires the app's China-based parent company ByteDance to sell its U.S. assets or face a ban due to national security concerns. The deal's worth billions of dollars. American investors would take over about 65 to 70% of the company. ByteDance would retain a 20% stake.
Our time now, 6:47. Don't expect to have fresh Bay Area crab on your dinner plate anytime soon. Crab season has been pushed back again. Now, they say it's a necessary conservation effort to protect endangered whales and sea turtles. There's been an increase in the number of those animals being caught in fishing gear in recent years. So this delay means the beloved local crab won't be on the menu for Thanksgiving or Christmas. The season now pushed back until at least the new year.
To get crab from up north like Washington, Oregon, but the price is very high. And once they realize San Francisco doesn't open, they even raise it up higher.
To be able to fish around the whales, that's our goal, not to wait till they leave, fish for a week, and then they come back. Because eventually they'll get to numbers to where they're always here, and then we have to be able to fish around them.
Now, while this is tough news for businesses, there's actually some good news if you love crustaceans. Recreational crab fishing begins November 1st, although only with nets and with snares. No crab pots allowed.
It's such a San Francisco tradition.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's check in with Sal to get an update on BART as people get ready to head out the door.
Well, look behind you there. Toll
not
plaza
looking
thing.
Great.
Wow. Yeah, not great. Not great, Bob. It's backed up beyond the maze, and I think a lot of people said that, I'm not gonna chance dealing with BART. Now, BART is better than it was earlier when they were saying no red or green line service. Now, the official website says there is no red line service. However, you can take other trains to get into San Francisco, and people are doing that. So I think it's normalized a little bit. We do have a reporter covering this. We'll find out more if there is more to find out. But right now, I will tell you, it is bigger. It is a bigger backup at the Bay Bridge than it normally is, even though it is Monday. Let's go to San Jose and Santa Clara, northbound 101 near Great America Parkway. There's a crash there, and traffic is backed up from the San Jose airport. So give yourself extra time if that's your commute. 6:50. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, thank you kindly. We do have low clouds around and some drizzle, but that's about it. And then we'll clear that out. And up above, it's sunshine there later today. 67.56 for the city. Average is now 69.53. The low went down. 94 in 2003, 47 1984. Not too far back, but the record rainfall 1.06. 1876 on that. 50s on most of the temps. Menlo Park, Sunnyvale, upper 40s there. I think that's it on this panel. We'll head over to the peninsula. Woodside's in there. Menlo Park, Stanford, Los Altos. Then it's a lot of 50s. Mid-50s on the San Mateo coast, Pacifica, Pillar Point, Half Moon Bay. Same for around San Carlos, Belmont, San Mateo, and Atherton at 52. 31-27. Truckee 27. So is Minden, South Lake Tahoe 31. 30s for Reno and also Carson City. You can see the ridge starting to lift that cloud deck well to the north out of the picture. So after fog and drizzle for the morning, we will have more sunshine. Warmer temps will kick in more so Tuesday, Wednesday. In fact, I think we'll peak it out on Wednesday near low 80s, a little dip Thursday, then back into warmer as we go into the weekend. It looks like a quiet pattern until I think November 6th. That's going to be our next hint of anywhere around there, somewhere around there. But nothing is showing up for the next 7 days unless you're up visiting Crescent City, Arcata, or Eureka. Otherwise, we're good to go. A Monday change, and it's a change to more of a drier and warmer pattern here. Although there's plenty of low clouds and fog and drizzle. Mr. Drizzle is definitely in town. We'll get 60s, 70s today, but warmer temps start a little today, more so Tuesday, Wednesday.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time is 6:51. The Oakland Museum of California filled with vibrant colors and deep traditions as the community gathers to honor ancestors through art, music, and altars at this year's Dia de los Muertos celebration. Right now, though, let's check in with Garcia Micaeli and see what's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour of Mornings on 2. Good morning, Gus.
Good morning, Dave. I get to join you in studio here in a minute, and we'll focus on the gorgeous Golden Gate Bridge as it is entering its final phase of earthquake retrofitting. New at 7, the $1 billion push to strengthen that iconic span after years of costly delays and decades of preparation. Then growing pressure on Capitol Hill, what the nation's largest federal workers union is demanding in regard to the government shutdown as both sides dig in over health care funding. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's now 6:55. San Leandro now has a new state-of-the-art aquatic center at George Mark Children's House. The new Betty Higgins Pediatric Palliative Aquatic Center is one of the few in the country that provides water therapy for children with registered nurses. Registered nurses are trained in warm water therapy, which can be one of the only ways some disabled children can feel comfort.
He's much more relaxed and the way he's moving more. So I got to see him in the wheelchair and he was kind of more like tucked in. And if you can see the way he's moving his arm, like opening, and a lot of the kids that we bring in here do that.
Many of them have constricted bodies and a lot of tension, and the warm water really soothes them and allows them to relax. We often say kids get their best night's sleep after they go in the session.
Now, the pool is 3.5 times bigger than the previous spa, which was a small jacuzzi. The parents say they're just happy for this new resource.
Huge relief for him. He really likes to roll around like on the ground and not be in a wheelchair, and this is even better because there's just no pressure on his body and he just looks really calm and happy.
Now, the new spa is funded through donations and through community grants. The goal is to eventually expand it to the public by creating an outpatient aquatic program in the future. Time is 6:57. Halloween just a couple of days away, and a new haunted house opened up in San Francisco. All of it's handmade using basic materials. A handful of local artists came together. They transformed San Francisco's Yerba Buena Center for the Arts into The Haunt. The haunted house is at the center for the first time after a test run last year at an artist's apartment building in the Mission. The haunted house is family friendly, so you can give your kids a good scare before the really spooky season is over.
My favorite part was going through the second time with my daughter and watching her go from being, hesitant to brave and running through saying, "I'm not afraid of you, I'm not afraid of you."
I mean, it was just so inventive and just obviously they put a lot of work into it.
But the haunted house has something for parents and adults as well. There are special events aimed at parents with cocktails and kicked up scares throughout the house. Cocktails are available on certain days just for adults. The haunted house is open through Saturday. Well, the Oakland Museum of California held its annual Dia de los Muertos community celebration. And the theme this year is honoring our ancestors. The museum invited several community groups to build altars to remember people who've died. Organizers say the altars honor anyone from family and friends to local activists.
We have one, for example, that is being dedicated to community leaders. And in that one, you will see representation of all of the Bay Area leaders that have passed in recent years.
Now, this, by the way, was the 31st year the Oakland Museum of California has hosted this event.
New fallout from the federal shutdown. SNAP benefits on hold, leaving thousands of California families scrambling to put food on the table. How the loss of food aid is rippling through households and college campuses, and how local groups are stepping in to help. Then Governor Gavin Newsom giving his strongest indication yet that he may run for the White House. After years of denials, what he says he'll be looking for after his term ends. Then another early morning commute wrinkle for BART riders now being resolved. What caused a delay in the Transbay Tube, where service stands right now, and why some riders are still frustrated.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Gassia Kaelian.
And good morning, I'm Dave Clark. It is Monday, it's October 27th. Now, Steve says calmer weather is going to be with us for a while, right?
Hold on, Dave. Who's our new anchor there?
This eye is bothering me, so that's why I'm resorting to these.
Well, if you two are gonna do it, then so am I.
Oh, look at us! All right.
All right, let's get to it here. We do have some low clouds, fog around, but once that clears up above, we have sunshine. So temperatures are in the 40s and 50s. A couple of 40s popping up. I know Palo Alto was, and then San Jose 52. There's a lot of low clouds, but we'll get through that. High and mid-level clouds have all kicked out of here, and everything is pointing towards a quiet pattern, probably for about 7 or 10. 10 days. Next hint of rain is around November 6th or so. Could be some low 80s on Wednesday, but again, with sun sets pretty fast now, so they don't last that long. But low clouds, Mr. Drizzle's in town, more sun later and a little warmer, so 60s to low 70s. All right, South Sheer, green is good. What about red?
Red is not good. There's a lot of red out there, Steve.
What about red on Bart?
Red on Bart. Yeah, Bart has some issues, that's for sure. And more people are out there using the car, and that's why the Bay Bridge backed up beyond the maze. Bart has some significant issues. The red line, I think now I get what Steve was saying. Bart's red line was down. Red and green were down for a while. There's no red line service because of an equipment problem. And well, I'll let Devin explain what's going on. But I will tell you that as a traffic issue, more people are on the road. There's no question about it, especially earlier in the morning when people were making the decision. They heard at that time there was no red and green line service, and it has put more people on the roads in the East Bay for sure. San Mateo Bridge looks okay. Heading out to the high rise, we'll check more of that South Bay commute when we come back. But now let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Food assistance programs will be the next to go if lawmakers on Capitol Hill don't find a way to end the government shutdown. KTVU's James Torres live here in Fremont as Bay Area nonprofits are really coming together to help people essentially feed their families, James.
Garcia, you'll hear a lot about SNAP this week. That's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's what the acronym stands for. Here in California, we call it CalFresh, and essentially helps low-income people pay for their groceries in the households. Well, many lawmakers this week have been warning and continue to warn that an ongoing government shutdown would put a pause on food stamps and CalFresh benefits. Simply put, people who rely on those benefits would not be able to buy their groceries. As a result, that's expected to skyrocket the demand at local food banks, which are already working with limited resources as it is. And while CalFresh is a state program, its funding comes from the federal government. And without that funding, there's a huge gap.
It's a huge program. There's no way food banks can fill the gap. However, we will stretch as much as we can, and we need the community support to do so. So really, we need people who are watching this to do what they can to help food banks like ours.
Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to supply that help. He's activated $80 million to help fund local food banks and deployed National Guard troops to prepare and help distribute food. The governor says more than 5 million Californians rely on CalFresh. And local data shows more than 500,000 of those people live in the Bay Area. Those benefits will pause at the end of this week if the government shutdown continues through the weekend. Reporting live this morning, I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, James, thank you. Time now 7:03. The nation's biggest union representing federal workers wants lawmakers to immediately make a deal and end the government shutdown. The American Federation of Government Employees urging Senate Democrats to abandon their current position and join Republicans in supporting a temporary spending plan. The Democrats say they won't vote to reopen the government without a firm commitment from Republicans that they will extend health care subsidies through the Affordable Care Act.
Passengers at airports here in the Bay Area and across the country are dealing with increasing delays as the nation's air traffic controllers work without pay during the government shutdown. We'll give you a live look here at SFO. All looks normal from this standpoint. The airport has not said if it's faced a staffing shortage yet. It has already been facing delayed flights due to problems at other airports, though. The FAA says a controller shortage tied to the federal shutdown brought LAX to a virtual halt that briefly slowed flights at both SFO and Oakland for several hours yesterday morning. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, is now warning of more delays and cancellations as the government shutdown continues.
I want air traffic controllers going to a food bank. These are well-qualified professionals that keep our airspace safe, our planes moving on time. And the fact that they have to think about how they put food on the table and need airlines to put food into the towers so they can have a lunch and a dinner is outrageous.
Many Bay Area travelers we spoke with said they're worried about the delays as they make plans for the holidays.
Normally standard is get there an hour early, and it was like, well, there's the government shutdown, so who knows, we should get there an hour and a half early instead.
With Thanksgiving coming up, it's obviously on the back of everybody's mind, so hopefully something's figured out by then.
The FAA says some 13,000 air traffic controllers are working without pay. Many of them are seeking other sources of income.
Our time now, 7:05. Governor Gavin Newsom gave a big hint about his political future.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Now, the governor, speaking to CBS News Sunday morning, suggested he's considering running for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2028. Governor Newsom has become one of the loudest critics within the Democratic Party of President Trump. And his comments come after former Vice President Kamala Harris said she could possibly run again.
Hurricane Melissa has become a major Category 5 storm, threatening to cause catastrophic damage in Jamaica. KTVU's Andre Sr. here with more details. Andre?
Garcia, forecasters say this may be the strongest hurricane forecast to ever hit the Caribbean country. It's already caused widespread damage and killed several people in Haiti and the Dominican Republic before it strengthened into a Category 5 storm. A live look now at Kingston Harbor. You could see downtown Kingston there. Just to the south of this is Norman Manley Highway. It is the highway that leads to the airport. The airport's on a barrier island there. The storm expected to hit just west of here, but churn up some pretty bad damage in that area. The storm is expected to make landfall tomorrow. Eastern parts of Jamaica could get up to 40 inches of rain. Officials in the country are making sure its 3 million residents are prepared for the storm. Many stores are closed with shelves emptied in preparation for it. Some people are nervous about what is headed their way.
Feel isolating when you're on an island and you're cut off if you don't have communication or anyone, that you feel forgotten. But there have been people that have been preparing supplies and pre-positioning aid.
Hurricane Melissa's sustained winds have reached 160 miles per hour. Many residents are pitching in to support and strengthen infrastructure so it can weather this storm.
We had Gilbert 37 years ago. And now we're having our first major hurricane since then. The government is very prepared. However, the infrastructure may just not be as ready. So we're busy cleaning up the drains. We're busy getting the homeless off the street.
Well, officials are urging people to get to higher ground since flash flooding could turn many main streets into rivers and the flooding could trigger life-threatening landslides.
We are looking on significant damage if this continues along this current trajectory. So we've asked persons to not wait until it gets to a point that it's difficult to evacuate or to save you, but rather to take early action.
Well, officials are warning people to be cautious of the dangers of slow-moving storms. Right now, it's moving west at just 3 miles per hour. After Jamaica, the storm is expected to hit Cuba and Bahamas later this week. Garcia?
Andre, I have to ask, many of our viewers know you grew up in Jamaica. You have, relatives still there. Have you heard from them about how they're preparing?
Yeah, just spoke to my cousin in Kingston. They're just kind of battening down the hatches right now, waiting for the rain to come. I've been unable to get through to my grandfather. He lives in a more rural part of Jamaica in St. Elizabeth, which is where the eye of the storm is supposed to be moving over. So we've been trying to get in touch with my aunts and uncles in that area to check on my grandfather because he lives by himself on his farm. So.
Yeah. Sending them good thoughts, Andre.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's check traffic, Sal.
All right. Right now, we do have a lot more of a backup at the Bay Bridge. Could be because of BART issues. It's backed up beyond the MacArthur Maze. Metering lights are on. BART has no red line service. Earlier in the morning, they had no red or green line service, so people may have made the choice back then to take the car, and now a lot of people are at the Bay Bridge along with the regular commuters. San Mateo Bridge looks okay. Dumbarton Bridge is also all right. As you look at Highway 4, that's kind of longer too. That is backed up from Summersville Road all the way out to the Willow Pass grade. 709. let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. A project to reinforce the Golden Gate Bridge to withstand a major earthquake is now moving to its final phase of construction. The Golden Gate Bridge District has voted to authorize $1 billion to complete the project. The price tag to reinforce the Golden Gate Bridge has surged over the years following a number of costly delays. Project managers say it'll still take 10 more years to complete the seismic retrofit work now that the final funding has been approved.
All right, our time 7:10. The World Series shifting to Los Angeles. The Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays gear up for Game 3. We'll have a live report from Dodger Stadium with that energy building up before tonight's game.
A tough loss for the 49ers, and that's not the only blow to the team. Hear from the coach and the quarterback about what went wrong and what comes next.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's now 7:14. The 49ers dropped their record drop to 5-3 after a tough loss on the road in Texas. The Houston Texans defeated the 49ers 26-15. The 49ers defense was shorthanded for more than 2/3 of the game, mainly because the offense was struggling. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said the 49ers defense had their hands full all 4 quarters. That Texan offense was tough.
They held on the ball as good as any team that I've been around, just going against them. We had to really take advantage when we did get the ball and made too many mistakes. When the defense is out there for that long, we can't go 3 and out.
Well, backup quarterback Mac Jones threw for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also threw a critical interception at the goal line in the 4th quarter. It took some of the steam out of a late rally by the 49ers.
Bad for the defense because we didn't give them, you know, when you're out there for that many plays, it's hard to just play. You get tired, and even if we just get a couple first downs, it gives some pressure off them. So got to be better there. Obviously want to score points, but even just moving the ball and flipping the field can be good.
Three more names from the defense were added to that long list of injured 49ers, including starting linebacker Dee Winters. The 49ers dropped to third place in the NFC West. They'll be playing the New York Giants on the road this Sunday.
Tonight, the World Series heads to Southern California for Game 3 between the Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. Preparations are well underway this morning in Los Angeles. Let's welcome reporter Mario Ramirez here live at Dodger Stadium. Just ahead of this game, we'll all watch together on KTVU. Thanks for being with us, Mario.
Gazia, that's right. Good morning to you. We are pumped here in Los Angeles. Game 3 of the World Series right here at home at Dodger Stadium. And it's been a beautiful, bit of a chilly morning out here. We've been watching as the activity has been picking up. I want to set the scene for you. More than 55,000 fans later today are going to be packing the stands here, packing this stadium. And the grounds crew, you can see them there. They're already hard at work turning this field into a World Series showpiece, working to get every inch of this field perfect for Game 3 today against the Toronto Blue Jays. The mound gets special attention. It's packed with the high clay material that holds its shape, and the crew uses a level and tamper to make sure that it's exactly 10 inches above home plate. So Major League Baseball inspecting it daily during the World Series to make sure it's perfect. And later this morning, you'll even see them laying down the stencils for that World Series logo in center field. Now, we can tell you the Blue Jays won the World Series in 1993, and the Dodgers are hoping to win their second consecutive title, their second World Series championship after winning last year. Tyler Glasnow is starting today for the Dodgers, and tomorrow we are set again for Game 4 and Game 5 here on Wednesday as well. So it's going to be quite the week here as we continue the Fall Classic right here at Dodger Stadium. For now, Garcia, we'll send it back to you.
You know, Mario, I have to say, Los Angeles has been through it this year, right? There were the wildfires in January, you know, immigration protests and raids in the middle of the year, National Guard sent in. What's the mood surrounding the World Series there in the greater Los Angeles area?
You know, this is the uplifting, the mood boost that the city really needs. We've been watching as this has been bringing people together, Dodgers fans from all over Southern California. And you have to remember the January wildfires were earlier this year. So those areas are still recovering. And the Palisades and Altadena area, thousands of structures that are gone and dozens of lives claimed, as well as those protests and those immigration raids that continue across Southern California. So this is really the uplifting that we need here in Los Angeles, and it's going to be great to see it play out here at home at Dodger Stadium.
All right, we've seen two good games in the series. We're looking forward to a third. Mario, thank you.
All right, Mario, thank you. And KTVU and Fox will show you every pitch of the World Series. Pre-game coverage begins at 4 p.m. The first pitch coming at 5 p.m. And don't worry, news and weather can be seen over on KTVU+.
7:18. We started off the morning, got into some trouble with Bart. Things should be resolving. What does that stand, Sal?
Well, a lot of people didn't hear about things being resolved, and they took the car instead. And we have a lot more people on the East Bay freeways, including the East Shore. A lot more people there. A bigger backup at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza from beyond the maze. And some people are just on the road. It's Monday. That's also another thing. A lot of people work on Monday, and they save their days off for later. The Highway 4 backed up from Summersville Road. So with BART issues, by the way, there's no direct red line service, but you can transfer into San Francisco. Still, a lot of people are in the car as a result. 7:18. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
All right, Sal, we are clearing out, but there's still a lot of low clouds in place and temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Most of the activity is pushed off, but there's still a little drizzle, light rain out there, but it was mostly over the weekend, as they said. They mostly come out at night, mostly. Mount Tamalpais, 1 3/4 inches. That's from Friday into this morning. Ben Lomond, 0.82. West Healdsburg, 0.75. And Cazadero, our observer Raymond there, 0.71. Close. Eric up in West Healdsburg with the info. Woodacre, 82-100. Tilden Park picked up a ½ inch. Guerneville, almost a ½ inch of rain. Yountville, a third. Sonoma and Napa, both 0.2. The city, 14. Oakland, 12. Although not far away, you could find more than that. And Mountain View, 0.04. There just wasn't much as we thought south. And especially on the peninsula. There wasn't much either. Mostly 50s. Now Sunnyvale and Menlo Park are in there. They were in the 40s. So what about south? Felton's 46. Hollister's in there. Gilroy, Aptos, Soquel down to 43. Santa Cruz 46. A lot of them here. Santa Clara, Cupertino, Saratoga, and Campbell all in on the 40s. 20s up in the mountains are 30s. Reno and Carson City, but Minden and Truckee both at 27. It was a wet snow, high elevations, mainly rain. But everything is lifting out and moving out. So fog, drizzle, light rain in the morning. It's mainly drizzle. But warmer Monday, but more so Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll pop some upper 70s, I think low 80s on Wednesday. Ease up a teeny bit Thursday before warmer again Friday, Saturday. Next sign of any rain, at least to me, looks to be around November 6th. I think so. It kind of links up with some of the teleconnections. That would certainly favor rain coming back around that time. But until then, it looks pretty dry and good to go. A Monday change, low clouds, drizzle maybe. More sun later today, a little warmer, 60s, 70s. Tomorrow, though, it'll be all about sunshine and warmer temps. We'll carry that into Thursday with some in the low 80s.
Thank you, Steve. Coming up, an update to the proposed California Forever project that would dramatically increase the size of a small Bay Area city. How you can weigh in on a plan that would add housing, recreation, and manufacturing to Suisun City.
Here's our live picture, our sunrise picture just for Garcia. Well, you can have some of it too. We're looking live at Santa Cruz Harbor, nice and peaceful, and a beauty shot on this Monday morning for you on Mornings on 2.
Starting today, cyclists and pedestrians will be able to use the bike lane on the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge for most of the week. The bike path will now only be open from Thursday afternoon through Sunday night. The barriers will be moved over to create a shoulder on the westbound lanes. When the path is closed, there will be a free shuttle for cyclists and pedestrians. The new schedule is expected to remain in place until 2028, when a permanent plan will be decided.
Our time now 7:24 tonight. Suisun City holding a forum for the public to speak out about a plan to massively expand the city. The group Group California Forever working on having Suisun annex its 25 square miles of land. That makes Suisun City a lot bigger. It's only about 4 square miles right now. The developers want to build as many as 400,000 homes, parks, jobs, even a shipyard out there. They pivoted to being annexed by Suisun City after pulling a proposal for a brand new city off the ballot last year.
One person is dead after crashing off the wharf in Santa Cruz. Authorities say a minivan plunged off the pier into the water below just before 10 o'clock yesterday morning. Witnesses say that Santa Cruz lifeguards were at the scene within minutes.
They all got there, yes. They all started jumping off the wharf, like obviously like what they needed to do. I saw that. It was pretty intense.
Emergency crews found the vehicle on its roof in about 30 feet of water. You see it here being hauled out. The driver was taken to the hospital where he died. Police are still working to determine what led to the crash. It is expected to take several days to repair the damage to the wharf itself.
Now 7:25, the Supreme Court hearing a big case about voting rights. Why their decision could rewrite the rules that shape who's represented in California. Then.
Que viva Berkeley! Que viva California!
A vibrant tribute to heritage, love, and resilience. The sights and sounds of a Dia de los Muertos celebration in Berkeley, and a fan who made a very long trip to see it all.
Good morning. Some better news. BART trains are back on track, but expect some lingering delays if you're heading into San Francisco. We're going to bring you a live report and updates from Embarcadero Station. And a historic Catholic church, now a sanctuary for immigrants. How it's transforming fear into solidarity and is now a lifeline for undocumented families.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
Good morning. I'm Garcia Michaelian. It's Monday, October 27th, the day that signals a pretty decent change in the weather, although we had a few days of perfect rain, steady, soaking rain.
Sit home, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, we will have a change in the pattern this week. We're still getting a lot of drizzle out there. If you want to call it light rain, that's fine, but it's below the radar beam and nothing is showing up. We are looking at 50s on the temps, had some 40s, now we're back into the 50s here across the board. And where's the rain that you're reporting? Well, I can't find it. Why? Because it's below the radar beam. But that's why. There's been a couple 100s here this morning for many. There's a little bit of drizzle. Up above that, though, it is clear, and that's what's going to win out over time throughout the day. Everything is lifting north. We're in a drier pattern for the rest of the week. I think our next hint of any rain would be November 6th. Maybe by Wednesday, some low 80s is the way it looks. It's a Monday change, though, no doubt. After the morning, low clouds, drizzle, light rain, more sun later today. It'll be a little warmer. Upper 60s, 70s, right about where we should be. All right, Sal's here, 7:30 on a Monday, and he tells us Bart is...
Bart's recovering, and we're going to have a live report coming up in a minute about exactly what happened. But I'll tell you that as far as commuters go, this morning early when there was no red or green line service, some people obviously made the decision to take the car, and that has affected traffic. It is longer backup at the Bay Bridge. It has been a longer backup on some key East Bay commutes. It is beginning to normalize now. It looks a little bit more like a normal commute, but we had some tough moments there in the 6 and half of the 7 o'clock hour here as things are getting a little bit better. I will say Highway 4 is longer, 680 and 24 a little bit slow. And of course we have the usual wreck, southbound 680 at Stone Valley Road. There's a crash. As I pull back here, I look at 880, that's pretty slow. There's a crash, southbound 880 at Stevenson, and 680 is pretty slow out of Dublin, heading down the Sunol grade. It's 7:31. Let's get back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Bart continues to work to get back on track this morning after an issue right near the start of service.
It's been a busy morning. Bart was having problems again today after having similar problems last week. KTVU's Devin Truby at San Francisco's Embarcadero Center. Good morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning, Dave. It's a very similar issue to last week, starting off the morning commute with Bart. There was no red or green line service and to expect 20-minute delays. Bart says they have now fixed the problem and service is being restored. There is green line service. However, I just heard the announcement again here at the Embarcadero station that there is no red line service. So we'll see if that gets fixed throughout the day or if the announcement has not caught up yet to the restoration issues. Now, as Sal has mentioned, the morning commute damage is probably already done there because when this happened 1 week ago, the same problem, no red or green line service due to an issue on the Transbay Tube, that took 3 hours to resolve. So some folks might not want to chance it this morning and they decided to drive in instead. Now, it's important to note that Bart maintains service to all 50 stations during both of these delays. I spoke with Bart last week during the delay and asked about their 2026 ballot measure to implement a regional sales tax to help fund them. I asked how they can ask the voters for more amidst multiple issues.
The reality of it is for Bart is we are seeing more riders than we have at any time since the pandemic. Our ridership has been up significantly. We were up 10% in September. So what that means for us is we know that more people are relying on us to get where they need to go. And when that, of course, occurs, we want to provide safe, reliable service. Most days we are able to do that. This is not one of those days. This has been a rough commute for Bart. We need to own that reality.
There has been no additional information on the equipment issue last week other than a driver heard a popping sound, and when they investigated there was smoke on the track. Both of the issues having to do with the Transbay Tube and equipment in the tracks. So far, Bart is still recovering from those 20-minute delays, it says. Reporting live in San Francisco, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Devin, thank you. Legal experts say the U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority appears ready to strike down a key provision of the landmark Voting Rights Act. The court will soon rule on a Louisiana case that would limit the ability of state lawmakers to use race as a factor in redrawing voting maps. The same ruling would likely have a big impact on California, with Election Day for Prop 50 now just 8 days away. Voters are deciding whether to redraw California's voting districts to favor Democrats in response to a similar move to help Republicans in Texas.
All right, Ghazi, at time 7:34 later this afternoon, Senate Democrats and Republicans return to Capitol Hill after their weekend break, and there's still no end in sight to the federal government shutdown, now in its 27th day. The Trump administration is warning that federal food assistance programs are just days away from running out of money. There are also concerns about airports and the armed forces as we get closer to November.
We keep our eye on November the 1st. November the 1st, our air traffic controllers will miss another paycheck. The military's due another paycheck right then. I think that'll probably be the sentinel moment that pushes us forward.
The government is shut down because Republicans have done something unprecedented. They have refused to talk to Democrats about a bipartisan budget.
Now, early today in Japan, President Trump told reporters he'd be willing to negotiate with Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill, but he says Democrats have to first reopen the government.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is threatening to take away $160 million in federal funding from California. Secretary Duffy told Fox News the state is refusing to comply with rules set by the Transportation Department that stop California from issuing commercial driver's licenses to non-citizens.
Gavin Newsom has thumbed his nose at us. He's refused to comply with the rules that have come from DOT, which is stop issuing these licenses, number one. And number two, go back and review all the licenses that you have issued and make sure it's been done legally.
Duffy also threatened to end California's ability to issue any commercial licenses if the state does not comply. The California DMV says the administration has no legitimate basis to withhold the funds. The DMV says the federal government previously allowed commercial licenses for asylum seekers and refugees, but that the policy ended in late September.
Time now 7:36. Many churches around the country have been at the heart of the sanctuary movement, but now some people say they're even afraid to go to church. Earlier this year, a court ruled the Trump administration could enforce immigration laws at churches, houses of worship. At one church near the White House, leaders say more than 40 members of their parish have been detained or deported since August. It's a similar scene around the country. Some clergy members have started accompanying their congregation to immigration court, and some communities have even paid for rent or food for people afraid to leave their homes.
About 2,000 people attended a Dia de los Muertos celebration in Berkeley this weekend, as Latino immigrants in particular are feeling increasingly under attack by the federal government.
Nuestros derechos bajo la ley y la Constitución de los Estados Unidos.
Mexican-American singer Leela Downs performed for a nearly sold-out crowd at Cal Zellerbach Hall. The event is one of Berkeley's most visible Dia de los Muertos celebrations, meant to connect people with loved ones who've died and their ancestors. Downs said standing together is its own act of courage.
Because this is the land of immigrants. Sola voy con mi pena, sola va mi condena.
Her music brings together many people of different walks of life.
We need that type of support. We need that type of words. They warm our hearts. They are very important for us. So I see it as an embrace. She's embracing our community.
Downs was joined on stage by members of Redwood City-based Casa Circulo Cultural.
To understand some way how the people, Hispanic people, can be together, you know, with the Anglos and other heritage. So it's important because she brings us all together.
Among the highlights of the night, a surprise for one fan who flew up from Los Angeles to see Downs perform. She got to meet her. She told KTVU it was the experience of a lifetime.
All right, time is 7:38. Sal's back. You've had a very busy morning, and so has Bart.
Dave, I would have liked to be at that performance.
I bet you would. Yeah, me too.
But your second question was more important because right now we have a problem on the San Mateo Bridge. I want to go to it. You can see. Now, just a minute ago, CHP was doing a traffic break because they're trying to get a crash off the bridge to the shoulder. So one of those little zigzag things, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but and they kind of stop traffic, or they keep traffic rolling very slow so CHP up ahead can get rid of a crash. That's exactly what they did, and that might help. The Bay Bridge is more crowded because some people did not want to take BART this morning. As you know, BART has had some issues. It's recovering from some earlier problems, and I just think that a lot of people have been taking the car this morning. 7:39. Let's talk about the Bay Area weather. Here's Steve.
Sal, thank you, sir. We have a lot of low clouds, gray skies here for many. Had 40s, now a lot of 50s, and many reports. You want to call it light rain, that's fine. Aggressive drizzle, but nothing shows up on radar. Absolutely nothing, and I've tweaked it, and it's below the radar beam. So, I mean, it's there, but it does not show up. Mount Tamalpais since Friday, inch and 3/4. Ben Lomond, 82 100s. West Healdsburg, 3/4. Cazadero picked up just shy of 3/4. Other totals were pretty good here for some. Mount Veeder, 9/10. Woodacre, 82 100s. Tilden Park, over half-inch of rain. Yountville, 1/3. Sonoma and Napa, both at 2/10. And after that, it just really tailed off. 14 100s in the city, Oakland 12, and Mountain View 0.04. San Jose was in there as well, 0.03, 0.04. Mount Diablo picked up about a half-inch of rain. 50s on the temps here. We're stuck due to the cloud cover, and a few 40s to the north. Canocti's in there, Upper Lake. Occidental has dipped in there. Kenwood also, but it's a lot of 50s here because of the cloud cover. 20s up in the mountains. They had a couple inches of wet snow, but it was mainly rain. Too high. This was not a cold system. It was a warm one. Boy, it's lifting northward, that's for sure. So fog, drizzle, light rain in the morning here. It'll clear, and we'll have more sunshine. Warmer temps, so really will kick in Tuesday for sure, Wednesday. They'll ease up a little Thursday before back to warmer on Friday, Saturday. For those of you who work outside, or you just need to know, I think November 6th will be our next hint of any rain. A couple forecast models show it. It would be in line with what's called the mojo. The mojo, moving into phase 6 in the first week of November, is a rain phase. So you can mark that down if you walk outside. But for us, nothing for a week. Monday change, low clouds, fog, aggressive drizzle, light rain, whatever you want to call it. More sun later today, a little warmer, 60s, 70s. Can you get me to the 80s? Of course I can, temperature-wise. We'll do that on Wednesday, a little back off on Thursday, but then it looks nice again Friday into the weekend.
Steve, thank you. The cost of food is going up, and it's making some people choose to skip out on lunch altogether.
Well, we're going to talk more about that in a moment, but first we want to hear from you now. So this morning we're asking this: how much are you willing to spend on lunch? Here are your options. 1, I'm skipping out. Also, I'll make lunch at home. 3, a quick bite for $10. Maybe $20. Now, for you to weigh in, just go to ktvu.com/vote. And you are voting. We're seeing you there. As we go to break, take one more look. You can scan that QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen to take you to our poll.
In today's Monday morning quarterback, the 49ers head to New York to face the Giants on Sunday. After a tough loss on the road in Texas, the Houston Texans defeated San Francisco 26-15. The shorthanded Niner defense was on the field for more than two-thirds of the game, mainly due to the struggles on offense. The Niners have now dropped to third place in the NFC West. Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix threw for 4 touchdowns as Denver really pretty much handled Dallas 44-24. Dallas's defense is atrocious. Running back J.K. Dobbins rushed for 111 yards in Denver's 5th consecutive win. The Broncos remain on top in the AFC West with a record of 6 wins and 4 losses. The Philadelphia Eagles, they sure did get revenge on the Giants. 38-20 in Philly, and it wasn't even that close. Jalen Hurts threw for 179 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's tied his career high. Saquon Barkley, 150 yards rushing, 2 scores. He was excellent. After losing to New York Giants in this, week 6, the Eagles fired back, and they even trolled the Giants, doing a fly Eagles fly post of their own. So they were upset, and they got their revenge.
Sal, thank you. 7:46 here. Some of the stories we're following this morning. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm as it barrels toward Jamaica. The government is evacuating low-lying neighborhoods. It's opening hundreds of relief shelters. The storm has maximum sustained winds of 160 miles an hour. The hurricane has already killed at least 4 people in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It could hit Kingston as soon as tomorrow.
Our time now, 7:46. The Council on American Islamic Relations demanding the release of a British journalist who was detained at SFO by immigration enforcement agents. The organization says Sami Hamdi is a British citizen traveling on a visa. It accuses the government of targeting him because of his statements about Israel. The Department of Homeland Security says his visa has been revoked.
Federal SNAP food benefits won't go out November 1st after the Trump administration refused to use $5 billion in contingency funds to keep them running. Nearly 14% of Californians rely on the program, which is called CalFresh in our state. The government shutdown, now the second longest on record.
Well, Israel is accusing Hamas of violating a ceasefire deal because it can't find and return the bodies of 13 hostages still unaccounted for. Right now, the ceasefire is still in effect. Families of the still missing hostages are calling for rallies in Israel. With the help of a team and heavy machinery from Egypt, Hamas is expanding its search for the bodies of hostages still in Gaza. Now, under the agreement, Hamas has freed all 20 living hostages who were held for more than 2 years.
The torch still burns, though, and we will keep its flame alive until every hostage returns home.
Rallies did break out in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem over the weekend. Negotiators are trying to advance the second phase of the White House plan. That part of the plan includes finding a more permanent ceasefire, as well as the future government of Gaza.
The week's already getting off to a busy start on Wall Street.
And several things are affecting trading. Pam Cook's back in the studio with a look at today's dollars and cents.
A lot to talk about this morning. The Bay Area's Netflix reportedly among the companies considering a deal to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Warner Brothers Discovery announced it is reviewing its strategy to maximize shareholder value, and that could mean a sale. Amazon, Apple, and Paramount have all been named as possible buyers. As that opening bell rang this morning, Lululemon's stock opened up close to 4% after announcing a collaboration with the NFL for specialized apparel. That collection is set to debut tomorrow. It will include men's and women's clothing and accessories, all with the logos of all 32 NFL teams. All right, as we take a look at the numbers, nice rally today. A lot of that maybe betting on some progress in trade talks with China, as the president is set to meet with China's leader Xi Jinping this week. The Dow Jones up about 0.5%, the S&P 500 up almost a full percentage point, and the Nasdaq gaining almost 350 points, 1.5% up for the Nasdaq. It looks like buybacks are now taking a back seat to artificial intelligence when it comes to long-term corporate investments. A new economic report found today's investors are increasingly putting their money in U.S. companies that channel their capital toward AI innovation, and they are backing away from companies that offer traditional shareholder payouts, such as buybacks and dividends. The sale of TikTok could also be finalized this week. The White House says negotiations between the two sides have gone well, and a deal could be finalized on Thursday when President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are scheduled to meet. A 2024 law signed by then-President Joe Biden requires the app's China-based parent company ByteDance to sell its U.S. assets or face a ban due to national security concerns. The deal's worth billions of dollars. American investors are expected to take a 65 to 70% stake in the company, and ByteDance would retain a 20% stake. Eating out for lunch break is quickly moving out of many people's budgets. A new study from Easy Cater shows eating out for lunch now costs about $22 a day. That means on average, workers would spend more than $400 a month for meals on work breaks. Restaurants say they have been forced to raise prices to meet rising costs of doing business. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
All right, Pam, and let's go right to the roads. Highway 4 and 680 and the Contra Costa commute look pretty typical. It is slow, kind of for a Monday. Also some slowing coming south of the Benicia Bridge heading into Martinez, and 80 is slow in El Sobrante. We have a bigger backup on the Richmond Bridge. We've been telling you that the bike lane is gone, so they've made the Richmond Bridge shoulder a breakdown lane in case someone breaks down. They have a place to pull off, which should help when that happens. It's also slow getting into Marin coming off that bridge. Bay Bridge has been backed up. I think BART issues, which BART still has some issues, but earlier they had some major issues where a lot of people decided to take the car instead. San Mateo Bridge, they just cleared a crash. Things are still slow, though, as you head out toward the peninsula. And one more thing, I got to mention the South Bay. We've had slow traffic, especially on 101, approaching Great America Parkway because of an earlier crash. South Bay commutes pretty slow almost everywhere, kind of like this. 7:52, let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, a lot of fog, low clouds, and what we say aggressive drizzle out there. Up above, though, it's sunny up there, and it'll get there eventually. But I'd love to show you where, if you're getting, it's raining out there, it doesn't show up on radar. Not radar. Dave, not radar, excuse me. But it's below the beam, so to speak. And I've tweaked all the levels, and I can't find anything. But it's there. So 50s on the temps here, 51 to about 55, 56 covers it. There were a few 40s for a while, then I think too many low clouds filled in. Blackhawk still won at 49. A lot of 50s in here. Berkeley, 55, Alameda, Lafayette, Orinda, Alamo's in there. Everyone's close here, so there's not much of a spread here. 20s, 30s up in the mountains. Truckee, South Lake Tahoe in the 20s. Had a couple inches of wet snow. This was a too warm of a system here. Higher elevations, Santa Cruz Mountains all the way up to Mount Veeder and also Mount Tamalpais by far and away had the most amounts. Lower elevations, not so much, unless you were north. Fog, drizzle, or light rain in the morning here. Warmer a little bit today, more so Tuesday and especially Wednesday. I think we'll get some low 80s heights, what we call 500 millibar heights, pop up to 585. That'll do it, even though the days are getting very short now. And nothing is brewing for us, it looks like, unless forecast models were out late last night, until probably around November 6th, maybe up north, but not in my forecast zone. So a Monday change, once we get through that low cloud deck and some drizzle, light rain, it'll be more sun today and it'll be warmer, and then more so as we kick in Tuesday, Wednesday. I think if you're looking for warmer temps, you don't have to wait long. They'll get here Tuesday, Wednesday, little ease up on those temps Thursday, then back to warmer day for the weekend.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time now 7:54, fighting against the president on a shoestring. While major law firms are stepping back, leaving a legal do-or-die burden for mid-size and solo law practices. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's now 7:57. Despite the pause by President Trump on a federal immigration enforcement surge here in the Bay Area, many immigrant communities still fear for their safety. One Dia de los Muertos celebration at Berkeley High School was canceled over the weekend because of those fears. Organizers canceled it at the last minute after getting several calls from parents worried about possible immigration operations. The annual event normally brings thousands of people to the high school and offers free haircuts and flu shots.
One by one, they're calling and counseling. And so, we have to honor that. If they're too afraid to leave their house, what right do we have to push an event? Even though we had a ton of safety factors in place that would have kept everybody safe, it does not support mental health.
Now, Saturday's event was supposed to honor a Berkeley organizer and educator, Salvador Murillo, who died late last year. The Day of the Dead celebration in Oakland's Fruitvale neighborhood is still scheduled for next Sunday. Well, a new report is out. It's finding that major law firms in the U.S., they're far less likely to challenge President Trump's policies compared to his first term. That means some of the smaller law firms are burdened with handling all of the high-stake lawsuits, according to a report by the Washington Post. That report found that large law firms only represented 15% of cases challenging President Trump's executive orders from the start of his term to the middle of September. The rest of the cases, or about 400, were taken on by mid to small size law firms. And President Trump has filed orders to block law firms that challenge him from government contracts and revoke access to federal buildings. Well, 5 Bay Area schools are being named among California's highest performing schools. The schools you see listed on your screen here, they're recognized as California Blue Ribbon schools. There are 3 schools in Alameda County, 1 in Contra Costa County, and 1 in San Francisco. These 5 schools are among California's highest performing schools based on student scores and graduation rates.
Program. There's no way food banks can fill the gap. However, we will stretch as much as we can.
A dire warning for those who get assistance to pay for food to eat. The ripple effect of the government shutdown set to put a strain on nonprofits to keep people from going hungry. We'll take you live to one local organization and show you what they're doing. Startups, investors, and big names in Silicon Valley meeting up in San Francisco this week. What TechCrunch Disrupt means for the local economy and the Bay Area's tech future.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
All right, a live look this morning across San Francisco. You can see the sun coming in on the left-hand side of your screen, reflecting off the clouds over the Golden Gate Bridge. It is shaping up to be nice, at least here, at least temporarily, at least, because we didn't see the sun all weekend from many parts of the Bay Area. So we're going to find out if that's going to change today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
That looks like a painting.
Isn't it?
I mean, like, even, and I know we say that every day, but wow, it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah.
There it is once again. Mother Nature and Father Time doing their thing. Steve Paul said it's a busy Monday, October 27th. The weather feels like it's turning, doesn't it?
I think I saw the sun for about 45 seconds on the weekend.
On the weekend, yeah, that's about it. That's about all you got.
But there it is right now, trying to make an appearance there on a picture I painted about 20 minutes ago. So, but we'll clear this low cloud deck, but there's a lot of reports of drizzle, heavy-duty drizzle out there. But we'll get through it here, and then once we do, we'll have more sunshine today. I'd love to show you any drizzle rain. It doesn't show up because it's below the radar beam. This is really low-level stuff, as we say. But the high and mid-level clouds have kicked out. That means up above, we are good to go for sunshine. Everything is lifting out, and we're in store for warmer weather. A little bit today, a lot of it Tuesday and Wednesday, especially Wednesday, some low 80s. Should back off a little Thursday, but it looks dry for about 7 to 10 days or so. November 6th, the next hint of any rain. Low clouds, aggressive drizzle, light rain, but really it's more sun and warmer. Getting near average here, 60s and low 70s. All right, sounds here. My gosh, you'd think it was a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It's been a crazy Monday.
Yeah, a lot of people are on the road for sure, Steve. And South Bay commute hasn't been great. It's beginning to loosen up a little bit, but that whole South Bay commute is filled in. We've had 101 be a mess getting into Santa Clara and Sunnyvale because kind of a long-standing crash there. Approaching Montague Expressway between there and Great America Parkway. We also have the San Mateo Bridge recovering from an earlier problem, and more people were on the road, I think because of that whole BART thing. And BART had some issues, so the Bay Bridge toll plaza was very slow from the get-go. It still is from beyond the maze. It's 8:02. Let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. Food assistance programs will be the next to go if lawmakers on Capitol Hill don't find a way to end the government shutdown.
KTVU's James Torres is live in Fremont as Bay Area nonprofits prepare to help people in need without that money. James.
Yeah, good morning to you both. We are at a local food bank here. This is what the setup looks like. Usually cars just drive through and they're able to pick up some of their groceries for the week. Now, you're likely going to hear a lot about SNAP this coming week. That stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's a federal program that basically helps low-income families pay for their household groceries. Here in the state of California, we call that CalFresh. Well, for weeks, lawmakers say an ongoing government shutdown would put a pause on food stamps and CalFresh benefits. Simply put, people who rely on those benefits would not be able to get their groceries for their households. As a result, that's expected to skyrocket the demand at local food banks, which are already working with limited resources as it is. While CalFresh is a state program, its funding comes from the federal government, and without that funding, there leaves a huge gap.
It's a huge program. There's no way food banks can fill the gap. However, we will stretch as much as we can, and we need the community support to do so. So really, we need people who are watching this to do what they can to help food banks like ours.
Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to help. He activated $80 million to help fund local food banks and deployed National Guard troops to prepare and help distribute food. South Bay Congressman Sam Liccardo spent the weekend volunteering at a food bank in Mountain View. The governor says more than 5 million Californians rely on CalFresh, and local data shows more than 500,000 of those live in the Bay Area. Those benefits will pause if the government shutdown continues through this weekend. Reporting live this morning, I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. At the same time, the nation's largest union representing federal employees wants lawmakers to immediately make a deal to end the shutdown. The American Federation of Government Employees urging Senate Democrats to abandon their current position and join Republicans in supporting a temporary spending plan. Democrats say they won't vote to reopen the government without a firm commitment from Republicans that they will extend health care subsidies through the Affordable Care Act.
Passengers at airports in the Bay Area and across the country are dealing with increasing delays as the nation's air traffic controllers work without pay during the federal government shutdown. A live look here at SFO. The airport has not said it's facing a staffing shortage. It's already been facing delayed flights, though, due to problems at other airports. The FAA says a controller shortage tied to the federal shutdown brought LAX to a virtual standstill. That briefly slowed flights at both SFO and Oakland for several hours yesterday morning. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, is now warning of more delays and cancellations ahead as the government shutdown continues.
I don't want air traffic controllers going to a food bank. These are well-qualified professionals that keep our airspace safe, our planes moving on time. And the fact that they have to think about how they put food on the table and need airlines to put food into the towers so they can have a lunch and a dinner is outrageous.
Many Bay Area travelers we spoke with said they're worried about the delays as they make plans for the holidays.
Normally standard is get there an hour early, and it was like, well, there's the government shutdown, so who knows, we should get there an hour and a half early instead.
With Thanksgiving coming up, it's obviously on the back of everybody's mind, so hopefully something's figured out by then.
The FAA says some 13,000 air traffic controllers are now working without pay, many seeking other sources of income.
8:06 is your time. Governor Gavin Newsom gave a strong hint about his political future.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
The governor speaking to CBS News Sunday morning, suggesting he's considering running for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2028. Governor Newsom has become one of the loudest critics within the Democratic Party of President Trump, and his comments come after former Vice President Kamala Harris said in an interview that she could, quote, possibly run again. KTVU political analyst Brian Sobel says he is now fully confident that Governor Newsom will be a candidate for the White House in 2028.
It's not been a secret that that's been a desire of his for quite some time. What's bubbling up now is the specter of Kamala Harris maybe wanting to get back in the race, and pretty soon other Democrat candidates from around the country on a national scale deciding they want to get into the race. So it's important for Newsom to get out in front of this.
The governor was the main force behind putting California's Proposition 50 on the November ballot, and Sobel says that measure to redraw the state's congressional maps has made Governor Newsom an even stronger presidential candidate.
Happening today, the start of the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in San Francisco's Moscone Center. Some 10,000 people are expected to attend. Speakers include top executives of Waymo, Microsoft, and Netflix. One of the main events is the Startup Battlefield. Ideas from around the world are pitched. The winner gets a $100,000 equity-free investment. Conference runs until Wednesday. Hurricane Melissa has become a major Category 5 storm now, threatening to cause catastrophic damage to Jamaica.
Forecasters say this may be the strongest hurricane forecast to ever hit that Caribbean country. It's already caused widespread damage and killed several people in Haiti and the Dominican Republic before feeding off the warm waters of the Caribbean Sea and strengthening into the powerful storm that it is now. It is expected to make landfall in Jamaica tomorrow. Eastern parts of the country could get up to 40 inches of rain. Officials in Jamaica making sure its 3 million residents are prepared for the storm. Many stores are closed with shelves emptied in preparation. Some people are nervous about what is headed their way.
Feel isolating when you're on an island and you're cut off if you don't have communication or anyone, that you feel forgotten. But there have been people that have been preparing supplies and pre-positioning aid.
Hurricane Melissa's sustained winds have reached 160 miles per hour. Many residents are pitching in to support and strengthen infrastructure so it can weather the storm.
We had Gilbert 37 years ago, and now we're having our first major hurricane since then. The government is very prepared. However, the infrastructure may just not be as ready. So we're busy cleaning up the drains. We're busy getting the homeless off the street.
Well, officials are urging people to get to higher ground since flash flooding could turn many main streets into rivers, and the flooding could trigger life-threatening landslides.
We are looking on significant damage if this continues along this current trajectory. So we've asked persons to not wait until it gets to a point that it's difficult to evacuate or to save you, but rather to take early action.
Well, officials are warning people to be cautious of the dangers of slow-moving storms. Right now, it's moving west at 3 miles per hour. After Jamaica, the storm is expected to hit Cuba and the Bahamas later this week.
Time is 8:09, and we still have quite the delay at the Bay Bridge and all the bridges. I think more people are on the road, but things are improving. And this is one of those things that's sometimes I look around to see, okay, is something blocking the way, but maybe I won't be so paranoid. Bay Bridge is now backed up only to the middle of the parking lot. San Mateo Bridge had a crash. It improved. So perhaps on this Monday, we're acting kind of like a Monday where it's busy early and then it starts tailing off. This is what's happening. South Bay commute, I wish that would tail off a little bit. Still very slow on all the freeways there. 8:10, let's go back to the desk.
Sal, thank you. A new survey shows big law firms are stepping back when it comes to fighting against President Trump's policies. Who's filling the gap and the new burden that's created?
Dodgers pitching power versus Blue Jays bats. Who will crack first? We'll take you live to Los Angeles with the latest on the World Series.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
The 49ers dropped to 5-3 after a tough loss on the road in Texas. The Houston Texans defeated San Francisco 26-15. The shorthanded Niner defense was on the field for more than 2/3 of the game, mainly due to struggles on the offense. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said San Francisco's defense had its hands full all 4 quarters with a tough Texan offense.
They held on the ball as good as any team that I've been around, just going against them. We had to really take advantage when we did get the ball and made too many mistakes. When the defense is out there for that long, we can't go 3 and out.
Backup quarterback Mac Jones threw for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also threw a critical interception at the goal line in the 4th quarter, which took some of the steam out of a late rally by the Niners.
For the defense, because we didn't give them, you know, when you're out there for that many plays, it's hard to just play. You get tired, and even if we just get a couple first downs, it gives some pressure off them. So got to be better there. Obviously want to score points, but even just moving the ball and flipping the field can be good.
3 more names from the defense were added to the long list of injured 49ers, including starter linebacker D. Winters. The Niners dropped to 3rd place in the NFC West. They'll face the New York Giants on the road this Sunday.
All right, let's talk some baseball. Tonight, the World Series heads to Southern California for Game 3 between the Dodgers and Blue Jays, and that means the preparations are underway this morning in Los Angeles. Mario Ramirez is live at Dodger Stadium this morning ahead of the game. You can watch right here on KTVU. Mario.
Andre, good morning. That's right. The excitement is building here at Dodger Stadium. A big day for Los Angeles here as Game 3 heads back here at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. And make no mistake about it, this is the busiest place in baseball right now. We've been watching as the grounds crew has been getting things ready. They're hard at work, turning Dodger Stadium into a World Series showpiece, getting every inch of this field perfect for Game 3 tonight against the Blue Jays. And this matchup marks just the 3rd time these two teams have met in the Fall Classic, a rare cross-border showdown that's drawing plenty of attention. And while all eyes are on the players, the grounds crew actually has something extra to play for too. According to the Associated Press, last year's postseason bonus pool hit a record $129 million, the largest in Major League history. And the World Series champion Dodgers, they claimed just over $46 million, and the rest divvied up some of that cash. Some of that money went to the opposing team, but a lot of it was split up. Over $400,000 went to different members of the Dodgers organization, whether it be grounds crews out here or even vendors. The team holding a rare meeting after the championship title is won to decide who gets that money, but it also means a big payday for not only the players, but the entire Dodgers organization. So Game 3 is getting underway in just a little bit at 5 o'clock local time, and we are getting ready to cheer on the boys in blue again. What an amazing day here in Los Angeles and Southern California for these diehard Dodger fans. For now, live here at Chavez Ravine, we'll send it back to you.
All right, tied 1-1. The best of 7 series continues tonight. Mario, thank you. KTVU and Fox will show you every pitch of the World Series. Pre-game coverage starts this evening at 3 with Fox Sports coverage starting at 4 and first pitch coming up at 5. News and weather can be seen over on KTVU+.
Time 8:17, and we still have a lot of slow traffic in the South Bay. I think you might be pleasantly surprised, though. Some of the other commutes have actually been pretty good. Now, 280 is improving here. Let me show you something I didn't expect. The Bay Bridge has recovered. It's not quite backed up to the maze, but it's a little better than it was. I thought it was going to be bad for all morning long. It's backed up to the maze. You can see the 880 freeway is a little bit slow, and even that San Mateo Bridge is getting better, although we had a crash. When you get over to 101, it is a little bit slow. 8:18, let's talk about today's weather. And here's Steve.
All right, Sal. Well, some sun breaks to the north. A lot of low clouds, though, around, but there are some beginning to show up here. And that's eventually we're going to eventually burn this off. But a lot of cloud cover, 40s, 50s on the temps here. A lot of reports of drizzle this morning, light rain. It simply does not show up on radar because it's below the beam. So it doesn't pick it up. That means it's really low-level stuff. But everything up above is gone. So blue sky's on the way, just going to take a little bit. Some of you already have it. And And except for the low clouds, drizzle, light rain this morning, warmer temps are on the way a little bit today, more so Tuesday, Wednesday. Looks like we'll peak it out Wednesday, maybe some low 80s for highs. Ease up a little bit Thursday, but the weekend looks good too. And there's nothing brewing here till maybe November 6th or so is the way it looks to me. A Monday change, low clouds, aggressive drizzle, light rain, but that's going to give way to more sun and warmer temps. Highs today starting in 60s, 70s, even warmer though next 2 days.
Steve, thank you. Coming up, going out for lunch in the middle of your workday is increasingly becoming a thing of the past. How some who are on the clock are cutting costs and why restaurants really are caught in a difficult situation.
All right, don't expect to have a fresh Bay Area crab on your dinner plate anytime soon.
Crab season has been pushed back. The move is a necessary conservation effort to protect whales and sea turtles.
Yes, there has been an increase in the number of those animals getting caught in fishing gear in recent years. This delay means beloved local crab won't be on the menu for Thanksgiving or Christmas, with the season now pushed back until at least a new year.
Allowed to get crab from up north like Washington, Oregon, but the price is very high. And once they realize San Francisco doesn't open, they even raise it up higher.
To be able to fish around the whales, that's our goal, not to wait till they leave, fish for a week, and then they come back. Because eventually they'll get to numbers to where they're always here, and then we have to be able to fish around them.
While this is tough news for businesses, there is some good news for crustacean lovers. Recreational crab fishing starts November 1st, although only with nets and snares, no crab pots allowed. 23 minutes after 8 now, Wall Street is looking to China for direction this week.
Ham Cook is upstairs with dollars and cents.
Yeah, the sale of TikTok could be finalized. It's one thing that's going on in China this week when President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are scheduled to meet. American investors are expected to take an 80% stake in the U.S. version of the social media company. ByteDance, the Chinese-owned company, would retain a 20% stake here in the U.S. The markets rallied as that opening bell rang this morning, also on hopes that that meeting this week between President Trump and the Chinese president will also result in better trade deals between the U.S. and China. So we will be closely watching for that. Taking a live look at the numbers, the Dow is up close to 0.5% this morning, more than 200 points. The S&P 500 up almost a full percentage, and the Nasdaq biggest gain today, up 1.5%, almost 360 points up for the Nasdaq. The chair of Tesla's board of directors is making a direct appeal to the company's shareholders to support CEO Elon Musk's nearly $1 trillion pay package. Now, she is warning Musk could leave Tesla if the company rejects his proposed record-breaking salary increase. She says his departure would make Tesla, in her words, just another car company. Opponents of the pay package say Musk's support of President Trump and other conservative political activities have damaged the Tesla brand. Lululemon stock up close to 4% this morning after announcing a collaboration with the NFL for specialized apparel. The collection will be available starting tomorrow. It will have men's and women's clothing and accessories with the logos of all 32 NFL teams. Lululemon already has NHL team branded items and deals with Formula One drivers, PGA golfers, and professional tennis players. Well, eating out for a lunch break is quickly moving out of many people's budgets. A new study from Easy Cater shows eating out for lunch now costs about $22 a day. That means, on average, workers would spend more than $400 a month for meals on work breaks. Restaurants say they've had to raise prices to meet the rising cost of doing business. Now, that leads us to our question of the day this morning. We're asking you, how much are you willing to spend on lunch? Your options: I'm skipping out, making lunch at home, quick bite for $10 or $20. To weigh in, just head to ktvu.com/vote. It looks like most people are making their lunch at home, probably bringing it into the office. Sounds familiar, Garcia and Andre.
All right, Pam, for sure. Thank you so much. Classrooms in the crosshairs, why teachers say politics is rewriting the education system. Then.
Que viva Berkeley! Que viva California!
One of Berkeley's biggest Dia de los Muertos celebrations goes on amid increased fears by some of the Latino community about enhanced immigration enforcement. Our performers brought love and strength to the stage. Another Monday morning commute thrown into chaos for some of the earliest BART riders. The issue that's now being resolved and why frustration lingers. Then immigrant rights groups say some parents are afraid to send their children to school in the face of fears about immigration enforcement. We'll talk with two members of San Francisco's teachers union about what's being done to help families feel safe and whether students are in fact staying home.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Gasia Mikaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. Today is Monday, October 27th. If you missed the sun this weekend, you may get a chance to see it today. Let's turn things over to Steve Paulson to find out what the forecast is going to be like on this Monday.
If you don't, I've missed the forecast because there will be some. You can see already some breaks. There you go. There's already lots of low clouds, but a lot of clearing has taken place to the north already. It'll get there eventually. So, but a lot of cloud cover, a lot of local drizzle, aggressive drizzle this morning, 40s, 50s on the temps. I mean, again, it's just low clouds up above. It's clear, and if you're getting some drizzle, light rain, nothing shows up on radar. So it's so far below the beam. As we say, it's hard to pick up, but everything is going north now. So except for fog drizzle in the morning, we're already starting to see some clearing. We'll get warmer temps, more so Tuesday and Wednesday for sure, as temps probably check in with some low 80s. So if you want it warmer, it's on its way. We've had an active fall, so this doesn't surprise me in the least. It does look like a teeny bit cooler on Thursday, but still pretty nice. So a Monday change from the weekend when it was a lot of gray and some rain here. More sun later, a little warmer. Temperatures pretty close to average, 60s to low 70s. Well, Sal's had his dancing shoes on this morning, and he tells us it's the same, it's worse, it's better, what?
It's improving in some spots. I think a lot of people did eventually get through. They got on the road early. I see some flashing lights at the Bay Bridge, but I also see improvement there. Some improvement on 880 and on the San Mateo Bridge. So if you have the luxury of going a little bit later, things are finally getting better. Almost everywhere you look. 8:31, let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. New this morning, BART has just fixed some issues this morning that affected the early part of the commute.
Yeah, it was having problems again after an issue just last week. KTVU's Devin Truby. She is live back again at Embarcadero Station in San Francisco. Devin, what's the update?
Yeah, Andre, well, BART says that service has been restored and they are working through those 20-minute delays that they experienced earlier this morning around 6 a.m. when there was no red or green line service. The exact same thing happened 1 week ago. Issues with the track and the Transbay tube for both of these incidents seems to be the culprit this morning. Now, last week it took 3 hours to resolve the service. Still no official word on what happened at this point in time. It is important to note that BART maintained service to all 50 stations during both of these delays. I spoke with BART last week during the delay and asked if any of these past issues are starting to be related to one another.
The reality is we have had several major service interruptions recently, so we really want to get to the bottom of what happened today, see if it somehow has some similarities to what has happened recently.
All we know about last week is that a driver heard a popping sound, and then when they investigated in the Transbay tube, there was smoke on the tracks. This incident this morning also reported as some sort of track issue. I'm reporting live from the Embarcadero Station. Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Devin, thank you much. 8:32 is your time. Senate Democrats and Republicans return to Capitol Hill this afternoon following their weekend break. And there is still no end in sight to the federal government shutdown, which is now in its 27th day. The Trump administration is warning federal food assistance programs are just days away from running out of money. There are also concerns about the nation's airports and armed forces.
We keep our eye on November the 1st. November the 1st, our air traffic controllers will miss another paycheck. The military's due another paycheck right then. I think that'll probably be the sentinel moment that pushes us forward.
The government is shut down because Republicans have done something unprecedented. They have refused to talk to Democrats about a bipartisan budget.
President Trump told reporters in Japan this morning he would be willing to negotiate with Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill, but the president says Democrats need to reopen the government first.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is threatening to take away $160 million in federal funding from California. Duffy told Fox News the state is refusing to comply with rules set by the Transportation Department that stop California from issuing commercial driver's licenses to non-citizens.
Gavin Newsom has thumbed his nose at us. He's refused to comply with the rules that have come from DOT, which is stop issuing these licenses, number one. And number two, go back and review all the licenses that you have issued and make sure it's been done legally.
Secretary Duffy also threatened to end California's ability to issue any commercial licenses if the state does not comply. The California DMV says the administration has no legitimate basis to withhold these funds. The DMV says the federal government previously allowed commercial licenses for asylum seekers and refugees, but that the policy ended late September.
Well, many churches across the country have been at the heart of the sanctuary movement, but now some people say they're afraid to even go to church. Earlier this year, a court ruled the Trump administration could enforce immigration laws at houses of worship. At one church near the White House, leaders say more than 40 members of their parish have been detained or deported since August. It's a similar scene across the country. Some clergy members have started accompanying their congregation to immigration court, and some communities have been covered or even covered rent or food for people afraid to leave their homes. Well, some teachers in school districts across the U.S. say the political climate is impacting how history is being taught in schools. A recent survey of teachers found 40% of them say they've changed class content due to political pressure from parents, administrators, or federal or state governments. 56% also said they have limited discussion of political and social issues while in the classroom.
Immigrants' rights groups that say some families are not sending their children to school for fear they or the parents will be targeted when they're separated. We wanted to learn what's happening in one of the region's biggest cities, so we invited two members of the Teachers Union, United Educators of San Francisco, to join us. We welcome Frank Lara, Executive Vice President of UESF, and Jerry Almanza, UESF Treasurer. Thank you both for being here. Tell me what happened on Thursday. That was the day that there were all the protests at Coast Guard Station just outside there in Alameda. There was a lot of sort of fear rippling throughout the Bay Area. What was happening in our classrooms?
Well, some educators reported that there was some classrooms that had about half of the students show up to class. So families were scared. Families did decide to stay home. They chose to keep their children home. Talked to several moms who actually have older students, like middle school and high school students, that actually they had conversations with their parents, and their parents tried to reassure them that schools were going to keep them safe through the communication and the sanctuary policies that are in place. But some students decided that they wanted to stay home because they're really scared. They were really worried and scared that if they went to school and if something happened and they were detained and they would be separated from their family. So many of them chose to stay home.
I think all parents have this feeling of once your child walks past the threshold of your door, you don't know what's going to happen. For immigrant families in particular, it was especially heavy that day. Did many or most of the students come back on Friday, do we know?
The reports were that the majority were, because they did hear the news that it was not going to be an intense operation. But the communication from their teachers, their principals, really helped to support families making that decision to return to class.
So Frank, let's talk about some of that communication. San Francisco is a city largely of immigrants. I think 40% of the population is immigrant. What's happening in the classroom? How can you talk to a student, whether they're 6 or 17, that this is a safe place for you to be?
And I think it's important that we saw immediately after the announcement that they were the presence of federal troops and federal agents in Alameda County, that the politicians, the legislators, all the representatives, including the superintendent, made it clear the very next day in a united press conference that we are going to protect our students, and ourselves as a union was there as well. Because these type of communications, as teachers, we emphasize the need to be in constant communication with our parents, building that trust, because we need them to understand that the safest place are our schools. So having built that up, a lot of our teachers have since the beginning of the year. It's the start of the year. That relationship is key. Parent conferences are coming up. How do we combine both of those to make sure that the families know, we know of their situation, we're here to protect them, and more importantly, that the institutions are there also to protect our members. This is why it's important that the union is coming out and telling our members, as you defend our students, we will also defend you.
I'm on the San Francisco Unified website. They have a whole page of immigration policy and resources at the top, a sanctuary district and a sanctuary city and state. And there's all these questions. What happens if an immigration officer arrives when my child's at school? So do you hope that parents, I guess in addition to the resources on the website, what's happening in the classroom, is there anything more you can say to parents? Because it is important that children are in the classroom for a number of reasons.
Yes. Well, I think that being in communication with your teachers, with the school administration, sometimes it's really hard to trust, especially if you are unauthorized to be in the country. So it's really important that parents understand that educators support our students, right? We are there to help our students be successful socially, emotionally, academically. And if they have a fear because of court dates coming up or any kind of check-ins happening, our educators are willing and able to support them in many different kinds of situations, and we should just be in communication.
There's a lot of social emotional going on these days, isn't there, Frank?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of impact and the regular stresses of living in a very expensive city, folks just trying to survive. So I think the more we have that communication, the more we make clear that there are protocols in place. For example, a very important sanctuary policy in the district is that no ICE agent should be showing up to a particular school site looking for someone. If they have a warrant, they should go to the district offices and speak to the district's legal team that this stuff, you have rights. This is the other thing we should not, we mentioned in the movement that we should spread power, not panic. Yeah. There are rules to this, and our educators just need to make sure that that everybody's playing by those rules. We teach that in the classroom, and so making sure that they're in communication, as you said, the site administrator, following district protocols, and that we're training each other up, and that they rely on their union, they rely on the district to make sure that that training is being given.
Well, I assume I'm not the only one going to San Francisco Unified's website here. Like I said, a lot of questions being answered. I appreciate both of you for coming down and really explaining and exploring the situation happening in San Francisco classrooms. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Andre?
Well, as Latino immigrants in particular are feeling increasingly under attack by the federal government, about 2,000 people attended a Dia de los Muertos celebration in Berkeley.
Nuestros derechos bajo la ley y la Constitución de los Estados Unidos.
Mexican-American singer Leela Downs performed for a nearly sold-out crowd at Cal's Zellbacher Hall. The event is one of Berkeley's most visible Dia de los Muertos celebrations, meant to connect people with loved ones who've died and their ancestors. Downs said standing together is its own act of courage.
Because this is the land of immigrants. Sola voy con mi pena, sola va mi condena.
Her music brings together many people of different walks of life. We need that type of support. We need that type of words. They warm our hearts. They are very important for us. So I see it as an embrace. She's embracing our community.
Downs was joined on stage by members of Redwood City-based Casa Círculo Cultural.
To understand some way how the people, Hispanic people, can be together, you know, with the Anglos and other heritage. So it's important because she brings us all together.
Well, among the highlights of the night, a surprise for a fan who flew in from Los Angeles. She got to meet Downs and see her perform. She told KTVU it was an experience of a lifetime. Well, it's 8:42. The Golden Gate Bridge is entering its final phase of earthquake retrofitting, the $1 billion push to strengthen the iconic span after years of costly delays and decades of preparation.
In today's Monday morning quarterback, the 49ers head to New York to face the New York Football Giants on Sunday after a tough loss on the road in Texas. The Houston Texans defeated San Francisco 26-15. The shorthanded Niner defense was on the field for more than 2/3 of the game. That looked too easy, didn't it? Because it was. They had their struggles. The Niners offense also had its struggles. The Niners are now third place in the NFC West. Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix threw for 4 touchdowns as Denver easily handled the no defense Dallas Cowboys. 44-24. Running back J.K. Dobbins rushed for 111 yards. Denver had 5 consecutive wins there. The Broncos remain on top of the AFC West with a record of 6 wins and 2 losses. The Philadelphia Eagles got their revenge on the New York Giants. They won 38-20 in Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley, 179 yards. No one could stop him. 4 touchdowns, tying his career high. Saquon Barkley also played really well, but after losing to the Giants in Week 6, the Eagles were keen on revenge.
Some of the stories we're following this morning. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm as it barrels toward Jamaica. The government is evacuating low-lying neighborhoods and opening hundreds of relief shelters. The storm has maximum sustained winds of 160 miles an hour. The hurricane has already killed at least 4 people in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It could hit Kingston as soon as tomorrow.
The Council on American Islamic Relations calling for the release of a British journalist detained at SFO by immigration enforcement agents. The organization says Sami Mandi is a British citizen traveling on a visa. It accuses the government of targeting him because of his statements on Israel. The Department of Homeland Security says his visa has been revoked.
Federal SNAP food benefits won't go out November 1st after the Trump administration refused to use $5 billion in contingency funds to keep them running. Nearly 14% of Californians rely on the program, which is called CalFresh in our state. The government shutdown, now the second longest on record.
2 Central Valley farm workers are being hailed heroes after rescuing 20 children from a burning bus. The men were fixing a broken tractor near Madera last month when they noticed flames on the back end of the bus. They alerted the driver, then helped get the students off the bus and to safety.
Honestly, just saw the fire and we're like, you know what? It's best to get them out, make sure they're safe, and just make sure they're safe. That's the main part.
The Madera County Board of Supervisors presented a formal proclamation honoring both men, applauding them for their selflessness, courage, and bravery.
The Oakland Museum of California held its annual Dia de los Muertos community celebration. This year's theme is honoring our ancestors. The museum invited several community groups to build altars to remember people who've died. Organizers say the altars honor family and friends, as well as local activists. This was the 31st year OMCA has hosted the event.
All right, so it's 8:48, Halloween just days away now, and a new haunted house just opened up in San Francisco. All handmade using basic materials. A handful of local artists came together to transform San Francisco's Yerba Buena Center for the Arts into The Haunt. The haunted house is at the center of the first time after a test run last year at an artist's apartment building in the Mission. The haunted house is family friendly, so you can give your kids a good scare before spooky season is over.
My favorite part was going through the second time with my daughter and watching her go from being, hesitant to brave and running through saying, "I'm not afraid of you, I'm not afraid of you."
I mean, it was just so inventive and just obviously they put a lot of work into it.
But the haunted house has something for parents and adults too. There's special events aimed for adults with cocktails and kicked up scares throughout the house. Cocktails are available on certain days aimed just at adults. The haunted house is open through Saturday.
A new state-of-the-art aquatic center is now open at George Mark Children's House in San Leandro. It's a center that offers pediatric palliative care meant to enhance quality of life and provide personalized end-of-life care. The new Betty Higgins Pediatric Palliative Aquatic Center is one of a very small number of facilities nationwide that allow children to have water therapy with registered nurses. The RNs are trained in warm water therapy, one of the only ways some disabled children can feel comfort.
He's much more relaxed and the way he's moving more. So I got to see him in the wheelchair and he was kind of more like tucked in. And if you can see the way he's moving his arm, like opening, and a lot of the kids that we bring in here do that.
Many of them have constricted bodies and a lot of tension, and the warm water really soothes them and allows them to relax. We often say kids get their best night's sleep after they go in the session.
The pool is 3.5 times larger than the previous spa, which was a small jacuzzi. Parents say they're so grateful for the resource.
Huge relief for him. He really likes to roll around like on the ground and not be in a wheelchair, and this is even better because there's just no pressure on his body, and he just looks really calm and happy.
The new spa is funded through donations and community grants. The goal is to eventually expand the program to the public by creating an outpatient aquatic program in the future.
It's 8:50, and right now we still have some slow traffic in the South Bay. Let's go there. You can see traffic is slow on 280 into Cupertino and on 101, but things have improved quite a bit. San Mateo Bridge also improved. What is that truck thing? It looks like a big kettle or a barbecue, but that's not what that is. Anyway, I digress. Northbound 880, getting up to the downtown Oakland area is slow, and the Bay Bridge has improved. Let me go back to that thing. What, Steve, doesn't that look like a big barbecue thing right there?
Well, why not, Sal? Sell it right there in case traffic backs up.
Right.
You know, get some brisket going.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we do have a lot of low clouds, but they are beginning to clear to the north. But we've had a lot of drizzle, light rain this morning. But I think we're about ready to say goodbye to all that. There's just nothing shows up on radar. It's just too far below the beam. But there's been a couple 100s in there. Although Mount Tamalpais just blew everyone away over the weekend totals. 1 3/4. Ben Lomond 82. West Healdsburg 3/4. Cazadero picked up 71 100s. Mount Veeder had over 9/10 of an inch of rain as well. Tilden Park had a 1/2 inch. Most of it was north or the higher elevations. We're done for a while here, probably until November 6th or so. Fog, morning drizzle, that's already beginning to lift, though a little bit warmer, a little bit today, more so Tuesday, Wednesday. I think we can get some low 80s on Wednesday. A little dip on Thursday, but all signs are pointing towards a pretty warm weekend. So it's a Monday change. No doubt about it. After we get through that low clouds and the lingering drizzle, we'll have more sun today and warmer, 60s, 70s. Can you get me back into the 80s? Yes, I think I can on Wednesday. And then for sure, it looks like Friday, the all-important Friday night into Saturday. I don't want to scare you, but it looks warm.
See what you did there, Steve. Thanks much. All right, they're used by millions of Americans every day, but those fitness apps may not be as helpful as you think. When you join us on the 9, we'll tell you about a new study, show how using data-driven workout and eating programs can actually hurt your health goals. It is 8:55. Despite President Donald Trump's pause on a federal immigration surge in the Bay Area, many immigrant communities still fear for their safety. One Dia de los Muertos celebration at Berkeley High School was canceled this weekend due to those fears. Organizers say they canceled it at the last minute after receiving several calls from parents concerned about possible immigration operations. The annual event usually brings thousands to the high school and offers free haircuts and flu shots.
One by one, they're calling and counseling. And so, we have to honor that. If they're too afraid to leave their house, what right do we have to push an event? Even though we had a ton of safety factors in place that would have kept everybody safe, it does not support mental health.
Saturday's event was supposed to pay tribute to Berkeley organizer and educator Salvador Murillo, who died late last year. The Day of the Dead celebration in Oakland's Fruitvale neighborhood is still on for next Sunday.
A new report finds major law firms in the United States are far less likely to challenge President Trump's policies now than in his first term. The Washington Post says this means smaller firms are now handling many high-stakes lawsuits. The report found large firms only represented 15% of cases challenging President Trump's executive orders from the start of his term to mid-September. The rest of the cases, about 400, were taken on by mid to small-size firms. President Trump has filed orders to block law firms that challenge him from government contracts and revoke access to federal buildings.
Well, Santa Clara County is looking for ways to make up more than $200 million this year alone, following massive cuts to Medicaid by the Trump administration. One county supervisor tells the Bay Area News Group the Board of Supervisors is looking at how to operate more efficiently as the county faces a $223 million loss. Another supervisor says the budget gap over the next 10 years of the Medicaid cuts will likely only be solved by cutting non-essential but impactful services. 1 in 4 Santa Clara County residents rely on Medicaid, which is called Medi-Cal here in California.
A project to reinforce the Golden Gate Bridge to withstand a major earthquake is now moving to its final phase of construction. The Golden Gate Bridge District has voted to authorize $1 billion to complete the project. The price tag to reinforce the Golden Gate Bridge has surged over the years after a number of costly delays. Project managers say it'll still take 10 more years to complete the seismic retrofit work now that the final funding has been approved.
8:57 now. 5 Bay Area schools are being named among the state's highest performing schools. The schools listed on your screen are being recognized as California Blue Ribbon schools. There are 3 schools in Alameda County, 1 in Contra Costa County, and 1 in San Francisco. These 5 schools are among California's highest performing schools based on students' scores and graduation rates.
Tonight, Sassoon City is holding a forum for the public to comment about a plan that would dramatically expand the city. The group California Forever is working on having Sassoon City annex its 25 square miles of land. Sassoon City is about 4 square miles right now. The developers want to build as many as 400,000 homes, add parks, jobs, and a shipyard. They pivoted to a plan to be annexed by Sassoon City after pulling a proposal to create a new city from the ballot last year. A quick pause as we will be right back on this fairly clear Monday morning. We're seeing blue sky for the first time in days. Mornings on 2 the 9 starts in just 60 seconds here on KTVU Fox 2. Tens of millions of Americans worried about how they'll put food on the table as the federal government threatens to pause funding for a critical program. Local food banks are feeling the strain as the need grows in the Bay Area.
BART riders delayed again this morning. Several lines stopped due to an equipment problem in the Transbay tube just 1 week after a similar issue. The latest on bringing service back to normal.
The San Francisco 49ers injuries are starting to catch up with them. The shorthanded team suffering a loss to the Houston Texans and are now sliding in the division.
Live from Chat London Square, this is Mornings on 2, The Narc.
Today is Monday, October 27th, and we're looking live at the Delta and Highway 4. The commute is finished up, but we have some cloudy skies out there. We're going to learn exactly what we have to face this weekend, or this week, I should say, in the weather in just a bit. All right. More than 60 million Americans rely on fitness trackers to help keep up their health goals. But a new study suggests this technology may have more negative than positive effects. According to a study by the University College London and Loughborough University, many users feel like these apps can lack accuracy, create unrealistic goals, and rely too much on oversimplified algorithms to track calories. Researchers say we need to focus more on prioritizing well-being and intrinsic motivation over rigid data-driven goals. Welcome to the 9. So many people tell me how many steps they got in, right?
It's obnoxious.
Right? I got my steps,
I
right?
don't hear it as much as I used to, like 5 or 7 years ago.
How do they know they got their steps? Because they're wearing a
It'll
watch.
tell you, it'll tell you. It'll track your, this one. I mean, the one I'm wearing right now will track everything.
Right.
But think about the people who never would have even paid attention to that stuff unless they had this device that kept them on top of it. It became an interesting gadget that you can now work out to, so it might be off a little bit slightly, and you don't really want to focus just on data-driven things. You want to make sure you're actually, doing the right things,
Right.
For your health goals. But I would argue about the people that have become suddenly interested in, I want to track my steps, I want to walk more.
So you think it's a net positive?
I think it could be a net positive
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, when my mom is calling me, she's like, I got my steps in today.
Yeah.
I think it's great because I keep pushing her to go out and
She's
walk
not
more.
obnoxious. I take it back what I said.
No, well, she tells me.
Okay.
But, but I think that's great. I want to hear that stuff. And I think it's because she has this device that she's out there I mean, she's always liked walking, but this kind of keeps.
It keeps her accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
If it's good